Yeah. What's going on, Feliz family? Welcome, one and all, to another episode of the Feliz Family Podcast. My name is Alex, and I'm here with my father, Franco.
How you guys doing today? Yeah.
Absolutely.
Hope everyone is having a good day or a good night, depending on what part of the world you're in. And today we're going to be discussing, I think, a very neat subject, and I want you to elaborate on that.
Absolutely. That subject is relationship currency. Relationship currency, as we define it on the Feliz Energy Podcast, is the value that each relationship possesses in relation or in accordance with your life purpose.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
How are the relationships that you have fueling you to move forward, bringing the best out in you so that you can take more steps towards your ultimate goals?
I agree. Very important, I would say that. And again, we're not going to talk like we've always made the right decisions as far as what relationships we have gotten into, because that's not the case. And I don't want you guys to think that we've always made the right choices and we want to talk we've been on a path of greatness and the right thing to do since we were 10 years old, 15, 20, 25. Not at all. This podcast is about talking about things that will enable you guys and will enable us as well, because we're growing as we're doing these podcasts, to make those right decisions, to think about things before you even decide to dive into them. Relationship currency, very important, because if you don't choose the right people to come into your life, I promise you that they will set you back. Why? Because when you're in the process of self-development, of improving, of becoming better, of becoming a better you, when you have people that are not on the same wavelength as you are, they will try to keep you back in that particular way. People are like crabs, like crabs in a barrel. As you put a whole bunch of crabs in a barrel, and you'll see that as one is climbing up, there's another one trying to get them back down. And that's I can't use a better metaphor.
It's perfect.
The reason I say this is because when you're in the path of better, of becoming better, of being that taking yourself to that next step, you are constantly reminding people who don't have that drive, you're constantly reminding them of their failures.
Yes.
And people don't want to be reminded of the fact that they don't have the courage to do the things that they need to do in order to become better. Because for the most part, people are complacent. People are satisfied with being in the place that they are at their present moment because it's comfortable. People do things that on an everyday basis that don't allow them to move forward because it's comfort. It's okay to stay in bed and 1 more hour. It's okay to hit the snooze button. It's okay to eat a hamburger, fries, and a large Coke, or in some people's cases, a Diet Coke.
Man, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started with that.
So, people do what's comfortable for them, and that's okay. That's totally okay, because if that's who you are and you feel comfortable, then you do you. I'm totally okay with that. But when you're in the mindset of criticizing everyone else that is trying to do what the 3% do, right? Because 95% of us do what's comfortable. But you have that 3%, rich people, millionaires, people who are trying to improve on an everyday basis. These people do what everybody else don't do. They have discipline. They choose the right people to accompany them in their journey. And that's including friends, family. And my son will talk about that, about the decision that he made to make himself better. Or at least he felt like, that was the right thing to do. And only he can elaborate on that. But your relationship currency, as we're talking about, is people that, like Alex said, are people that are willing to accompany you in your journey to greatness. People that understand that you're going to make sacrifices. People that understand that you cannot be around them all the time. People that understand that when you're with them, it'll be quality time. But when you're not, you're on your purpose. And this is what life is all about, especially men. You have to be about your purpose And women respect that. They may not like it, but they respect it. I'll let Alex here talk about his experience and what he had to do. And I think he talked about that in our last episodes or some of our episodes in the past. But I'll go ahead and let him elaborate on what happened with him.
Absolutely. And no great life was ever lived without great sacrifice. And in this case, one of those sacrifices, I feel the greatest sacrifice that I've had to make is separating myself more or less from my family because of their beliefs, their religious beliefs. I saw that the community that I was a part of, the religion that I was then practicing, was not bringing out the best in me. It was handicapping me. It was limiting me. And when I became aware of that, I knew what I needed to do. And I've known for a long time, I would say for about a good 2 to 3 years, that I could feel that I was being limited by my community, by the religion that I was in. And so I had to make a swift decision. I had to make clear where it was that I wanted to go in life and why where I was and the community that I was a part of was holding me back.
But let me ask you a question. You talk about that you were being limited. Be more specific about that, because I understand you, but our audience, our friends and family, the Feliz Family podcast may not understand what you're talking about. Elaborate on that. What do you mean when you say they were handicapping you?
Absolutely. The freedom of expression, the freedom and diversity of thought that we encourage on the Feliz Energy Podcast, it's something that was not a part of my life. I was restricted to doing things a certain way and disencouraged to doing otherwise. And so I cannot achieve my greatest, fullest potential without those things. Freedom of identity, freedom of expression, freedom of thought.
Wow.
And I feel that in society at large, there are handicaps to this. In whatever group you may be in professionally, there's an agenda. That agenda may not bring out the best in you.
No doubt, yeah.
And we must all become cognizant, aware of that.
I agree.
And the biggest fear people have, like the fear of public speaking or major fears like this, is that being lonely, that of being alone. And that is a fear we must overcome if we are to become our greatest selves. We must, as in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, dare to go it alone. In that context, he was also referencing religion. The quote goes like this: dare to love God without intermediary, without someone interceding for you. Dare to establish that connection and communication with God. It is you and God, no one else. That is unique and specific to you. Dare to experience what that is, and you will experience what most people never will. You will truly live. You will truly be free to become the greatest version of yourself. And so that is leading back into relationship currency, why it is so important to embark on that path so that you can invite the right people into your space, because you must give something. You must sacrifice something in order for something else to come in.
Right.
You can't expect to change or evolve or transform being in the same place or surrounded by the same people.
Well, that's a definition of insanity.
Truly.
Yeah.
Truly.
Einstein said that. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Going to the club with your boys every Saturday. And as you're developing yourself, you don't think that you're going to start seeing things differently. You don't think that you're going to start expressing yourself and carrying yourself differently. You don't think that, as Dad mentioned earlier, your light is going to shine on your friends' demons.
Without a doubt.
And your friends have two choices to make. They either are inspired to make change as well and follow you on this path. They will receive your inspiration, or they will reject it.
Right.
You must accept whichever one comes, but you must experience it. It's a part of growth.
You have to experience it. If you want to get ahead in life, you will have to make some sacrifices. Sometimes it's with your marriage. You may be married and you might be in a certain situation with your wife or husband that he or she may not want you to develop or become a better you because you're leaving them behind. At that very moment, you have to make a decision. Do you want to live like that for the rest of your life? And our need for acceptance, your need for acceptance can make you invisible in this world. Everybody wants to be accepted. Everybody wants to be accepted in one way, shape, or form. And when you become free of that, when you don't care about what the next person thinks of you, when you are in true knowledge and knowing of what it is that you're trying to accomplish, what everybody else thinks doesn't matter because you're on the path of greatness. I can talk about Kobe Bryant. May he rest in peace. This was a gentleman who understood giving his all meant not hanging out with his buddies on vacation. This is a gentleman that after a game, he would still be on the court shooting basketball for an hour and a half. I mean, he was truly a master at knowing what his purpose was. And when you're at that level, you really don't care about what everybody else thinks because you know you're doing what's right. Your wife respects that. Your children respect that. Everybody around you respect that.
And your mindset, therefore, becomes one of make no mistake. I don't need anyone. I love, motivate, and inspire myself. Those I allow in my inner circle simply encourage me to continue doing so as I them.
100%. I would say risk being seen in all of your glory. It doesn't matter what that is. Risk being seen in all of your glory. Stop worrying about acceptance. Stop worrying about people hitting likes on your TikToks. Drop the social media. Drop the phones. You would accomplish so much more if you were to do that. I think I was talking to you about that maybe a month and a half ago. And I asked you a very simple question. I don't know if you remember this conversation, but I asked you, I said, well, Alex, how much time do you spend on your phone? How much time do you spend on social media? You remember the answer, what you gave me to that?
Absolutely. I think it was like 6 hours of what, the week or the day?
Of the day.
Of the day. I think
That's
it was like
crazy.
6 hours. Yeah.
That's insane.
And, to rebuttal that, I can say, oh, well, for work or for professional reasons, etc. But that question ultimately had me reflect as well. Like, how much time do I really need to be spending on my phone?
When we calculated the time, when we calculated and we multiplied the hours by the time, by 30 days, we calculated that you literally spend, and that's on the low end, 2 months of your life on social media. That's 2 months out of the year. So you literally doing everything else 10 months.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
When I calculated that and when I saw that, I was blown away because when you say 6 hours or 3 hours a day, it doesn't seem like it's that bad. It's not that bad. But when you think about it, 20 years ago, we didn't have that. The social media and these phones are handicapping us 100%. Every time you go somewhere, you see moms, dads, children on the bus, in their car. There's no conversation being had. Nothing. Everybody has their head down on their phones.
Yes. It's absolutely handicapping our ability to connect and communicate with other people. And like a knife, you can use it to cause harm to someone, or you can use it to make food. So in that same way, phones are a part of our daily life. We have to have the awareness to make sure that we are using our time wisely. All right, Feliz family. We'll wrap it up for now. And until next time.
Always remember, if you don't live to serve, then you don't deserve to live.